Hello, I'm Dan Kleffler, and this is Newsmakers for ABC News and Yahoo News. With a string of record-selling albums and Billboard hits, Lionel Richie is the ultimate balladeer. The appeal of the five-time Grammy winner spans decades and cultures, and having just wrapped up a series of concerts overseas, he is now treating his fans in the U.S. to a taste of his All the Hits, All Night Long tour here in the United States. All Night Long, the global appeal that song has is phenomenal. Right? I mean, you played it at the 1984 Olympics in Los Angeles,
right.
And then as U.S. troops were rolling into Baghdad in 2003, how does it transcend generations and countries?
If I had that one answer, we'd have the entire world wrapped up again. I'll tell you the other half of that story. The Merchants were playing all night long as the troops rolled in. The troops played Dancing on the Ceiling to let them know that they were friendly. So, I mean, I got that from the commander, that they put the speakers on top of the Humvees, and they were playing Dancing on the Ceiling against All Night Long.
An international diplomat, essentially, is what you. Have you been tapped yet to be an ambassador?
I found that it's probably safer to just be Lionel Richie and without attaching myself to anything. But you know, I feel that way some days. There are some days when I will have in front of me two guys that oppose each other and their religion and their culture and whatever it is, except one thing: they were both married on my songs, so they have something in common. We're in Sardinia, where everyone vacations for the summer, and they said that's the Israeli delegation, that's the Palestinian delegation. They spent an hour and a half with you talking about their weddings and their families. And by the way, I met all of them.
You know, your sophomore album, Can't Slow Down, every song on it in the top 10, All Night Long,
Crazy.
Hello. Tell me the story about the inspiration behind Hello.
Hello was, that's great. That's the song. When I say that, for me, it pretty much sums up my growing up. I was too short to play basketball, too slow to run track, too small to play football, and the only sport I could play was tennis, which was not a macho sport back when I was growing up in high school.
But you got a scholarship. I mean, you were very professional.
I was professional from that standpoint, but not enough to make a difference. And then I realized my friend came in, James Anthony Cabo, Michael, my co-producer, walked in one day to finish the album. And I leaned over and said, "Hello, is it me you're looking for?" And he said, "Finish that song." And I thought he was kidding. And he said, "No, that was great. Finish that song." And I thought for the first time in my life, this is going to be the corniest song I've ever written in my life. And I found out something. That song came out and everybody could relate to being the shyest person in the room, because everybody's not the jock. Everybody is the shyest person. Most guys walk into a room and they go, "Hello, is it me you're looking for?" And the answer is no. So that song became the national anthem of people invisible, and it worked.
You describe it as the potential for being corny. Where's that line between being corny and being genuinely heartfelt?
I have tried in my 900 years of being in this business, I have tried to find a different way to say, "I love you." You know what? People don't want to hear anything else but "I love you." Now, if you're single, that's corny.
Right.
If you're in love, those are your words. So I have found that over the years, it's just going to be a part of the fiber of growing up, that love happens to be the only thing that doesn't go out of style. And I kind of found it. You know, now if you can make it so that it translates forever, in other words, it becomes our song,
right,
or it becomes the family song, you got show business.
When you sit down and you write or you compose, how much do your personal relationships affect the words or the notes?
I wrote the songs. I wrote Still. I wrote Three Times a Lady. I wrote Zoom, all these songs. And I would go to concerts and I would see people crying on the front row, and I'd go, "Oh, wow, that's amazing." I mean, that song touched them. I wrote about somebody's hardship. I wasn't going through that pain myself, but somebody else's problem. So I wrote it down. I wrote their story. And then one day I was going through my own problems. I was going through my own divorce and the loss of my parents and stuff. And a guy came to me one day and he said, I've got some inspirational tapes I want you to listen to. And he sent me my albums. He said, listen to Zoom, listen to, he gave me a list. And here I am crying to my own music because I had written the lyrics. It's just, it didn't happen to me until then. So I finally felt what those words really meant. To answer your question, there's some days when you write songs, I'm detached because I'm writing what someone is feeling, and I'm writing the story for them. And then, eventually it comes around to me.